What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, thanks for coming back. So it's Sunday again, and I want to start making these videos every Sunday, just short 10 minutes or less videos, kind of answering questions on specific topics that you guys have been wondering about, or leave me questions. And today's going to be about the 2017 Plus bumpers on the OBS trucks. So if you guys know, kind of like the bumper swaps were what really kind of got me started on YouTube. First with the 08 through 10, and then with the 17 Plus. So like many of you know, I do sell the bumper brackets, so I get a lot of questions about them. So I'm gonna try and answer most of the more common ones that I get. So let's jump right into it. So the first question that I get is, do I have to trim my frame horns? And no, you don't have to trim your frame horns. And this is basically how it looks if you don't trim your frame horns. They stick out from the side a little bit, but that's about it. And honestly, if you paint these things black, they kind of disappear. You don't notice them as much. But if you want a nice clean look, I would definitely trim them flush with my bracket. So this is my bracket right there. You can install the bracket, mark around it, and trim flush with it. Now the only, I guess, tip that I would give, and it shouldn't really be a problem, just because you're trimming so far ahead of it, just don't go so far in that you trim the actual weld that's on the back of the bracket that's on the frame, welded to the frame, because you obviously want that solid on there. Like I said, you can do that. You can trim all the way up to my bracket, or you can trim just enough so that you don't see this from the side, which would be pretty much up to that little hole right there. Okay, so question number 2 is, which bracket do I get? So I have a total of 3 bumper brackets on the website. I have the 08 through 10, which is this one. It's identified by, it only has 4 holes in the front. And then I have the 2017 Plus, which looks just like this. It has 6 holes on the front. And then we have the HDs, which have an extra little tab welded to them, kind of like this. The 08 through 10, there's only one option. So if you have an 08 through 10 bumper, that's the one you get. The 2017 Plus and 2017 HDs. Basically, I personally recommend that you go with the HDs, no matter how you install the bumper, but they are meant for this, for tow hooks. If you install your tow hook, you obviously want a more secure mounting location for them. So this gives you an extra 2 holes, 2 bolts per side, so 4 bolts total on your tow hooks, so that you can actually use them. Again, that makes the whole thing a lot more secure. But it also makes your actual bumper like way more solid on there, because it now has support from this side as well. So as you can see, that kind of moves a little bit. That doesn't move at all, and that's because this one has the HDs. That one also has the HDs, but I haven't drilled the holes on the side for that. So you can kind of see that, I mean, either way it's super secure, but this is way more secure. And again, I recommend that everyone goes with the HDs because it's just a better design. But if you don't want to spend the extra money and you don't plan on ever installing tow hooks, the regular 2017 Plus are just as good. As a matter of fact, I ran those for like the first 2 years, I think, that I had this bumper on here before I installed the tow hooks. And like I said, I made that design because I wanted the tow hooks to be useful. And if I didn't do that, the tow hooks would only have the 2 bolts per side that the frame has, and I just didn't trust it enough to also have the tow hooks in case I ever needed to actually use them. If I forgot to kind of mention this in the previous part, but if you choose to not trim the frame, you will have to trim this bracket, the bumper bracket that the bumper has. You'll have to trim it right up here. It's kind of hard to see. And I haven't trimmed this one either, and I'll show you why you have to trim it. But yeah, just notch it about 1/4 inch up, and that's so that you have more clearance with the bumper, so that it can actually sit a little bit lower. Right now it's basically all up against the body, and I like to have a little bit of a gap. So if you don't trim the frame, make sure you trim the bracket a little bit so that it actually clears the body, or at least it has a proper gap. And I guess one of the final questions that I get is, how do I align the bumper? So again, if you get just the regular 2017 brackets, the way that I do it is I would put your bracket on. If you get the hardware kit, install basically these two on first, which are the ones that go to the frame, but between them put two of the washers that come in the kit on the top bolt, put one on the bottom bolt, and that will get you pretty close. So once you have those, get them snug, throw the bumper on, see how it fits. If it's tilted back too much, add another washer to the top bolt or take off the bottom washer, and that'll straighten it up again. And if it's too high on the bottom, vice versa, add a washer to the bottom and it'll bring it down. Now the HDs are basically the same way, except you're gonna get the bumper completely fitted up, get everything perfectly installed and tight. Then after you're sure that everything looks good, that it's nice and tight, go back, I don't know if you can see anything, but basically mark those holes on the tab on the frame. And so take the bumper off. If you see that the holes are still aligned, go ahead and drill them through, and then install your bolt, get everything tight, and then throw the bumper back on, make sure that it still fits good. And that'll be the best way to install the HDs, because if you go ahead and install the HDs, install the bracket, and drill the holes on the tab without aligning the bracket, it'll be way harder to align the bumper. So that's kind of my tip with that. Also, what tires can you clear? Obviously it's kind of hard. I've had 33s, 35s, and then I believe these are like 31s or 30s. So this is a two-wheel drive truck. Honestly, I don't know what size these tires are. Let's see. They are 65, 75, 16, so whatever size that is. These actually clear perfectly on there. I didn't trim at all. But with this truck, when it was before I did the axle swap and it was on 33s, it still rubbed pretty bad. So I trimmed basically all of that, which you can kind of see right there. I trimmed that so that it would actually clear the tires. But again, that's just something that you'll have to see once you get the bumper installed and see how much you have to clear when you turn the tires. But you will have to trim more with the 2017s than with the stock OBS bumpers, because these are a little bit lower. I would say that the OBS bumpers probably go up to like right there. So yeah, the 08s, they're not as low, but they're still lower than the OBS bumper. So you will also have to trim a little bit with those ones. And another question that I get about the fog lights and how I wired them up. Basically the way that I did it is, back in the day when I did this truck, I ordered a harness, kind of like a light bar harness off of Amazon, but it had the correct plugs for those lights. So I ordered that and I wired it up, and I've looked for that harness again and I can't find it. So what you'll have to do is just basically do that. Look for your harness that has the plug for those fog lights, and hopefully you can find it. If I have time, I'll try and look it up again and see if I can find it, and leave a link down below. Hopefully it's down there. If not, I'm sorry. But yeah, so the last and final question, last but definitely not least, is where can I get my bumper brackets? And you can get them from blowingdiesel.com. It'll be right here. That's my website. It'll also be linked down below. Yeah, again guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, I want to do these videos every Sunday. I want to try and get them before under 10 minutes long. I feel like this one's going to be a little bit longer than that, but yeah, at least under 10 minutes long. And just leave me topics down below that I can answer for you guys. So again, leave a like, leave any questions with any topics or anything else. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you for the next one.